interrupt him. Please rein him in. What I said is very clear.
These are not.
What I said is very clear.
Don't interrupt him. Please wait.
You are very biased.
Okay.
In your own opinion.
Okay.
You made up your mind.
Okay, please.
As an unbiased arbiter, you are a judge.
Keep
the judge don't descend into arena. You
can't take over the show, Mr.
No, to me, on that, I believe that we just have to go on issues. Let us talk about law.
Please, I beg you.
It's the law that we are talking about. It's the lawyer addressing the judiciary. This is the issue. The judges address them.
Okay, but
we lawyers cannot continue
to
desecrate the
judiciary. Allow him. Please.
And yes, still very much on the controversy surrounding the certificate forgery. I'm going to release the full video to you guys to watch in just a moment. A lot is currently unfolding. I must be very honest with you. A lot is currently unfolding. Lawyers for and against coming to media houses, television stations, to defend or to go against, to kick against this issue on ground. I mean, this issue to me is very, very simple. It's clear for even a primary school pupil to kind of understand which is right and which is wrong, which is right, which is true, which is false. But then you still find that some people, even they look stupid when they defend this kind of a glaring thing, things that is really, really visible, things that you can actually see, that you yourself, when you sit down to dissect, to think about all of these things, to connect the dots, you know that something is not right somewhere. Something is not right somewhere. I just wanted to continue to listen to this video, watch it, take your time to watch it from the beginning to the end, from both parties, the one that is for and the one that is against, and you make the judgment yourself. Even connect that with the evidence that you have, with the proof, with your own particular opinion with regards to the matter. Put it together and you know exactly where this particular matter is. Continue to watch it. Try as much as possible to share it. There's a lot that is still unfolding. Don't forget that Alhaji Atiku Abubakar had filed in fresh petitions, aside of the certificate forgery against Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So there's still very much to unfolding gradually with regard to this issue. A lot of people say, okay, is there nothing to discuss apart from the certificate forgery of Bola Ahmed Tinubu and all of that? What do you want to say? What more could be very, very pertinent? What more could be very important? That is more than the certificate forgery of number one person of the country. This is really bad. This is really shameful. I just wanted to take your time to listen to it. This is Cr1m1nal Media, where we continue to bring you updated news items as things unfold. Stay tuned.
In Bayelsa.
Dr. Abati, when your legislators are corrupt, you should be worried. If your executive peopled by crooks, you should be afraid. But when the judiciary stops being court of law, the people should be alarmed. Nigerian courts over the past few years have shown very clearly that we have good reasons to be worried about the capacity to deliver justice or to give equity. However, I do know that within the inherent jurisdiction of that court, it has the powers, if it so desires and if it finds the will, to hear evidence that will suggest that the person who is sat in the highest office of the land is a career criminal. That is entirely up to the Supreme Court. It is up to the court to decide whether it is capable of saving what we have described variously as a democracy. What I have said is very simple. No. I'm sorry, Dr. Abati. I am sorry, Dr. Abati. Please rein in Mr. Azan. Rein him in. Rein him in. Rein him in. He had his say and I did not interrupt him.
You had your time.
He had his say and I did not interrupt him. Please rein him in. What I said is very clear. What I said is very clear.
Don't interrupt him. Please.
You are very biased.
Okay.
In your own opinion.
Okay.
You made up your mind.
Please.
As an unbiased arbiter, you are a judge.
Keep
the judge don't descend into arena. You can't take over the show, Mr. No, to me, on that, I believe that we just have to go on issues. Let us talk about law.
Please, I beg you.
It's the law that we are talking about. It's the lawyer addressing the judiciary. This is the issue. The judges address them.
Okay, but
we lawyers cannot continue to desecrate the judiciary.
Allow him.
The judiciary are there to be there as unbiased arbiter. If you love to be part of the articular and media lawyer, go and join them.
We are not in a
go
position.
and accuse fight before the court. You don't come to the media and presume judgment. And I won't accept it. I won't accept it. You've taken over the show. No, we are here to inform the public. Not you, but the public.
Hold on. We are not in a position to charge you for contempt. But this is becoming contemptuous.
My words are not ambiguous.
Mr. Farotimi,
I was speaking with you specifically, Dr. Abati, over a year ago. I was away in America when you asked me specifically about the appointment of the current CJ, and he was appointed in an acting capacity at the time. And my opinion are on paper. They are clear, they are not ambiguous. I have zero trust in the capacity of the CJN to deliver justice. That is not political. That is something I had said long before there was a Peter Obi. So there is nothing political about that. There is nothing personal about that. This is all about Nigeria. It is about the country we want to leave behind for posterity, for our children. What values are we building that country with? Is it a country where nothing matters any longer once the person can snatch it, grab it? If you speak against that, you must hate the person. Is that the kind of country we have become? It is up to the judiciary to decide whether he wishes to do justice or whether he wants to continue wearing blinkers and pretending that it is a court of law when justice is vacant completely in his court. This is not about legalese. It is about building a society based on morality, equity, justice, and even law. If we are now faced with a situation where in our courts, the law does not matter anymore. You have a Lawan in the Senate, even you have an Akpabio, and then you are asking me if I have confidence in the capacity of that judiciary to do justice. I am telling you straight up, no. If anybody does not like that, it is up to them. The point I'm raising is when you have this much imputation of criminality, whether it is proven or not is another ball game entirely. It is not even seemly. Already all over the world, our reputations are in tatters simply because of the person who sits in the highest office in our land. And then we are being told it is wrong to ask questions. We must hate him if we are asking questions. I hate nobody. I hate their deeds.
All right. Okay, I mean, very heavy things you said here, and as you've mentioned, it's just important to clarify that they're your personal opinion in your personal capacity in terms of your evaluation of the judiciary and the capacity of the CJN to deliver equity and justice.
Yes.
Purely personal. So
purely personal.
All right.
And the evidences are in the public space.
All right. To establish that, I'd like to then to reply to that, Mr. Hassan. What's your assessment of the judiciary? And again, just responding to Dr. Abati's question around evidence being admitted to the Supreme Court at this level, from a lawyer's perspective yourself. What's your take on this?
Well, admission of evidence are allowed at every stages of every matter, but you cannot bring in fresh matter. That is the case here. On the effect of article is a dead on arrival case have been issued, and that of Peter Obi. And let me now go into the other question of how best do we rate our judiciary. It's quite unfortunate in this part of the world. When you go to court and you win a case, you go to church and run your Thanksgiving, but the day you lose the case, then you begin to cast aspersion. Our judiciary, which I'm also part of, if you cast aspersion, you are part of that process. But I still want to reiterate, as far as the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal is concerned, the judges are unbiased, and for every lawyer, the jurisprudential judgment of that ruling is a book for another day for lawyers to learn, even for lawyers to know how to prepare election petition matters. You don't just presume the fact that you hate the face of the judges or you tag them on all the social media, definitely because they now deliver judgment against you, definitely they are bad. No, we still, Mr. Abati have admitted, everybody know, our judges are there. You don't preempt them, and that's why I wouldn't want to prejudice the Supreme Court. But I know Article and Obi are just on their self-melancholic voyage to just satisfy their followers, the mob attacks. And that's what we are witnessing. Everywhere you go, you see them. But for me, the judiciary is full of integrity, and I believe, and I still reiterate, however the Supreme Court rules, I'm not preempting that they must rule in favor of Asiwaju. If the Supreme Court rules tomorrow, Asiwaju needs to take his leave and obey the rule of law. He has nothing. And I know the man I know, while he was a former governor of Lagos State, he went through the court. He's a man of court. Okay. You might hate him for his God, but he's a man of due process, and he's very calculative in ensuring to get his ass together, not a man that does things hurriedly just to get fire brigade solution.
So a couple of questions. My very dear friend,
good friend,
Mr. Hassan.
We let the whole world know that we resolve behind the camera.
I've got nothing against
now
you.
Go.
But the truth is, I'm a man of fact, and I stay
same here.
And you know, when you are interrogating based on fact and people call you unprofessional, it's a compliment actually, because you're doing your work. So thank you for complimenting me. Let me go straight to it. So this was the fact I was interrogating you on. And I'm just a person of facts, and I want the facts to come out. I get your point that a third party, can print a document and everything. But that's why I specifically asked you that did you read the deposition in its entirety? Because in the deposition in its entirety, there were a lot of discrepancies. When Enahoro Eba subpoenaed the school, they gave him one certificate, which was different from what President Tinubu submitted. So the one certificate that they gave Enahoro Eba was different. And that's the bone of contention. That's why I kept on telling you that. That's why I kept on telling you that. No, hang on a minute. That's why I kept on telling you that you might not have had the full facts. So it's not that I have anything against you. I've got nothing against you. I don't have the capacity to hit. Hang on a minute. You won't let me finish. So that was the variation in the document. And that's why I asked you hitherto that if an issuing body does not authenticate something that was claimed to have been issued by an issuing body, then what is the case? Let me even stretch your argument and make your argument for you, because I love arguments. So if you say that a third party issued it, was there an authentication by the school recognizing the fact that the third party issue in its deposition? Wasn't that supposed to be submitted to INEC, part of the oath? Secondly, the Southwestern College documents. The school themselves came out to say that they have no verification mechanism on these documents students submit to get into their own school. Which is suspect, because that means I can submit a name and call myself Wendy Smollen, and the school will accept it without verifying it, which is also an albatross on the school itself. They also talked about, and these were the things that are in the documents, they also talk about the case of Mr. Orr that left the school after there was a certification that was initially delivered to Mr. Wole Afolabi, which is cancelled. So these are the issues. Let me also set a timeline for Mr. Mr. Farotimi. Mr. Farotimi, there's this big bone of contention, and this is the argument some people are making, that all that matters is the fact that the school, and in the deposition when Mr. Henderson was interviewing the witness, the school said, yes, the candidate graduated. So people are making the argument that, is that not enough? Once they said graduated, but they said they cannot authenticate the documents. Because that has been a bone of contention, and I want you to be able to clarify first. Answer the question, yeah.
Well, let me draw you to our own local system. Yeah, I attended LASU. So many years back, there was a printed certificate without your picture on it. But now you go to...
What year was that?
That's 2010, 2011.
Okay.
But I knew when... but I'm aware when you are in English. But I'm coming. I knew Dr. Bat very well as a lecturer. But at the same time,